What up, YouTube? My name is Vic, and I am the Brooklyn Watch Guy. If this is your first time on the channel, this channel is all about watch buying, collecting, unboxings, and reviews in the affordable range, which I define as $1,000 or less. If you're into that, I invite you to stick around, watch the video. If you make it to the end, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so you know every time I put a new video up. Folks, today we're going to be doing something a little different. No reviews today, no unboxings, nothing like that. We're going to take this guy right here, this Casio GA2100. We're going to make it into a AP. I think with all the hype surrounding the AP Royal Pop Swatch, overpriced piece of plastic that's not even practical in my opinion. I think you could do a lot better with your money, especially for those who are on the fence about getting it. I'm sure the diehards that want it, they're going to get it. If you check online now, the hype on it has been dying. I've seen charts the other day about the demand, pretty much fell off a cliff. But you're still going to find those overpriced listings. But what we're going to do here today, I believe is a better option. So I would recommend, if you're on the fence, do this instead and don't buy the Royal Pop. So without further delay, let's get into this. All right, so here we have the GA2100. Now, there's different versions of this. This is the GA2100, but there's also a GMA2100. So if you decide that this is what you want to do instead of buying the Royal Pop Swatch, you have to make sure that if you buy a kit, that kit is for the model G-Shock that you have. The GMA2100 is slightly smaller than the GA, so you won't be able to mix match the kits. They won't work, it won't fit. So keep that in mind if you want to do this. I went with this one because it was the dial color that I like, but going with the clear one, it was the cheapest one that I could find. But these don't cost too much money. The most I've seen these for is about $150, $160. The kits, you're gonna pay a little money for these. Well, you want to pay a little money for these because if you cheap out on this, you're gonna get a crappy kit with bad links, bad metal, so you want to spend a little money on this so you get a decent kit. So let's take this out. Well, before we get into that, you will need a couple things. You will need a small Phillips screwdriver. You will need a small flathead screwdriver. This is just to help pry the shroud out once you undo the screws on the kit. And also you'll need a link tool. These are all cheap link tool. It'll do the job. Sometimes these kits do come with the tools that you need. I'm not sure if this one did or didn't. I spent about $60 for this kit. So let's unbox it and see what we got. Nice, it came with replacement, came with instructions sort of. But this is a simple mod, anybody can do this. I do see a piece of plastic in here. Oh yeah, look, this one came with tools. Cool. So like I said, sometimes they come with tools, sometimes they don't. Usually the better ones do come with tools. This one even came with extra screws. That's good. I like to see that. Let's see if we actually need these screws. Okay, I think we have to swap the screws out because it looks like the stock ones won't fit. So it wants us to use these screws. Okay, so don't discard these. You'll need these. So let's take this off the plastic. So we're going to start. I'm just going to use my own tools. I'll leave the other ones in the plastic. These fit. So first thing you want to do is unscrew all. There's 4 screws here on the side of the G-Shock. You just want to unscrew them all. Don't lose these if you ever decide to reverse this mod. You don't want to struggle to find them. So keep them somewhere where you have them. Once you have those screws undone, you shouldn't, actually you will, because the way the G-Shocks work, the strap is part of the shock thing. So you will need to remove the strap. This one thankfully has a quick release. I just clipped my nails so I won't be able to get it with my finger, but that's why we have a flathead screwdriver. So you have to take it out the strap, otherwise you won't be able to get the module out. Now, very carefully, you want to pry this out. All right, once you have your module out, you're gonna take the kit. It should just pop right in there. Now, you might need to do it a little hard on some of these. This one, it's in there already. Now, real quick, before you tighten this down. Put it on your wrist. You want to make sure that you have this oriented in a way that you like. Some people are different. Some people like their bracelets orienting a specific way. So put it on your wrist first and make sure that you like the way that the bracelet closes. And I'm looking at this already and I really love the way this looks. So I'm gonna check this one, see if it's the way I like it, and then I'll continue. All right, so this is exactly the way I like it to fit. I want to see something. I want to compare the screws in this bag to the ones that we pulled off the G-Shock, just to make sure that we don't have to use these unnecessarily. And looking at them in the bag, they do look a little longer. Yeah, okay. There's more teeth on these. So you do. All right, folks. So now we take the screws that came supplied with the kit. You know, if the kit comes with its own screws, use those screws. It comes with them for a reason, right? A lot of times the kit screws have more teeth because it's a metal kit. So it might be a little thicker. So it might need those extra teeth just to grab and stay in place with the module. And you just screw them all in. Okay, so you want to get all those screws in. One of them wouldn't catch for me, so I had to use one of the G-Shock screws, and it caught in there. But very important that you make sure these all catch, because that's what's keeping your module in place. So, you know, obviously it's not going to fall off while you're wearing it, but if you drop it, you know, while you're taking it off or putting it away somewhere, you know, it could fall, it could damage the module. So the last step now is to size this and get it to the way you like it. Folks, here you got, this is what you get. I could probably go one more link, and I may do that, but you know, right now I'm happy with the way it looks. I'm happy with the fit, and I have something much better than a piece of cheap plastic that's overpriced. I have an actual functioning watch with the look that I was going for in the first place, which I think this is the look that most people that want the Royal Pop Swatch, this is what you want. So folks, this is a much better alternative, and you're gonna actually save some money. I only spent about $110 for the watch and $60 for the kit. So, you know, about $170, $180, you know, let's say $250 might be the most you spend depending on your taste. You're still going to save money compared to what you would have been spending on the Royal Pop Swatch, you know, at retail. And we're not even going to talk about aftermarket, because those prices are still inflated, coming down, but still insane. But that's going to conclude this one, folks. I'll see you on my next video. Peace.
Hey YouTube, it's Vic, the Brooklyn Watch Guy. Got any questions or suggestions for content? Well, scan this QR code, send me an email. Maybe you see your idea come up, or I'll answer your question on a video. Thank you for watching.